You're listening to the Femtrepreneur Show. This is episode 13. And in this episode, we're chatting with Addi Ganley of AddiGanley.com. And we're talking about how course creators can incorporate affiliate marketing into their revenue streams, why Addi loves selling a less expensive course, and how to really listen to your audience to figure out what they actually want to buy. So Addi is a Launch Your Signature course student, and we're also in a mastermind together. I'm really excited to share all the knowledge bombs that she drops in this episode. Hey guys, this is Mariah.
And I'm Megan Minns, and we are so excited for you to hear this interview. Addi Ganley is a seasoned blogger and business owner who has created successful blogs in the frugal living niche before she started teaching other bloggers how to create passive income, even if they don't have a product, which is amazing. And even better, Addi is actually offering one of her paid courses to our audience for free, which she doesn't offer anywhere else. So stay tuned for more information on how to get access to her free course. Let's get into the episode.
Hey Addi, we're so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today all about passive income and affiliate marketing and your courses and all that stuff.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
So we kind of introduced you a little bit in the intro, but tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I am Addi Ganley. I have a site called AddiGanley.com that just launched a few months ago, but I teach people how to earn passive income either with their blog or their business website. And it's mainly centered around Pinterest and affiliate marketing.
Awesome. We're going to get into that and into all those details in a little bit because there's so much going on behind the scenes, like with all that stuff. And I'm sure people are just like, obviously, Megan and I know, and you know too, that like passive income is such a hot topic. And
yeah,
in terms of the kind of like, a lot of people talk about it, it's kind of bullshit. And the way that you do it, Addi, is so legit. Like the way that you do it is just like, oh, this works. This makes sense. I know because I've been implementing everything that you've been teaching me. So I'm really excited to talk more about that. So let's talk about kind of your background and what you did before you started an online business, before you started a blog. Now I know AddiGanley.com is not your first blog, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You actually... my favorite people are people who actually have had successful blogs and businesses before they start teaching that. And you're obviously one of those people. So I want to hear about what did you do before you started blogging? How'd you make the transition to blogging full time? Tell us your story.
So I have my teaching degree and I have an MBA, and I was working at a small business for a couple of years. And then I got married and had my first son and decided to quit and stay home. After about, I think it was maybe like a year later, I decided to start a blog. So that was like 2011. I had a 1-year-old and a 2-month-old, and I kind of just needed like an outlet to share how my family and I were saving money and what I was doing. And I feel like I just needed something at that time because it was such a difference to just go from working to being at home and having kids. And I feel like I was like cut off from the rest of the world. So I started frugalfantatic.com. At the time, it was just a hobby. I just kind of started it so that I could share my ideas and what we were doing. And I really had no idea that it would ever turn into a business. I didn't know people monetized it. I was literally clueless about this entire like blogging world. Like I feel like someone just like mentioned to me like, hey, maybe you should start a blog. And I just jump right in because I feel like I normally do that. I don't like look at everything and research it. I just go head first. But so I had frugalfantatic.com, and I'd say about 2 years later, I kind of decided like, hey, if I'm going to be doing this and taking time away from my family, then I really need to make a commitment to it instead of just like making a little bit of money. And I feel like I saw everyone else like growing a business and having like these income reports. And I'm like, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So I gave myself a couple months and thought like, if I'm going to put this much time in, or if I'm going to put money in, like I really need to build this. So before that, I just like fumbled my way through. I was clueless. I didn't know where to go or what to do. So I just immediately went online and started like researching and trying to learn everything that I could.
What was the difference between like, because that's really interesting. It's like this decision to take it seriously or this decision to like treat your blog like a business. What do you feel like, what does that look like in practice? Like, is it the difference between, like I know for me, it was the difference between saying like, I'll blog when I feel like it, to like, I blog every single Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like what were some of those things you did to take it seriously?
I'd say I definitely added in time in my schedule. Like before, it was kind of like, well, if I got to today, then I did. If I didn't, that's okay. I'll just not post today or not share something on social media. So I kind of like created a schedule where it was like during nap time or bedtime, or I'd wake up early. And I actually started investing into different things to help my business. So whether that was like a part-time VA a little bit, or taking a course to learn more, just anything that would actually pay off if I put money into it. So that's kind of how I got serious. At the time, Pinterest was like kind of new, kind of not, and I just jumped right into that. And within 3 months, I went from 10,000 page views to over 100,000 page views just because of Pinterest.
Wow.
And that's when I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Like, this is awesome, because I started to actually see like the difference that it could make. And I always say like Pinterest was a game changer for my business, and it really was, because if that wouldn't have happened, I may have just given up at that point.
That's insane. Like, did you have any monetization on frugalfanatic.com at that time when you started seeing this huge uptick in traffic, or were you not selling anything? You didn't have ads? Like, what did it look like then?
I didn't have any products at the time. I had ads, and I did a little bit of affiliate marketing, but not much. I kind of just did like all the wrong things with affiliate marketing. I made a little bit of money, but nothing significant. But I definitely didn't have products or anything. I did a little bit of like brand partnerships and sponsorships at that time.
Okay, so tell us how things kind of grew, and then how your income grew. Like, how did you start monetizing Frugal Fanatic? How did your income grow? Like, you have such an impressive story and such impressive metrics with that blog. It's insane.
Yeah. So after I decided to like really figure it out, from like 2013 to 2014, Pinterest was my main traffic source. I know within like that first year and a half, I tripled my page views. I started actually taking the time to like build an audience, because before that I kind of just like was like, hey, let me just try to get all this traffic. And I really wasn't doing anything with it because I had no idea. I was just like, oh, okay, well, everyone wants to get all this traffic. I'll just build traffic. Mm-hmm. So I really started to focus on like building that audience and the people I wanted to bring to Frugal Fanatic. So I kind of set some like, I want to say like rules and boundaries for myself, and was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do this type of stuff anymore to make money. I'm not going to only get paid $50 for a sponsored post, because I'm worth more than that. So that was one thing.
Than I was at the time. When I started, I was like $10. I literally would pay, people would PayPal me $5 for an article. Like, I'm not even joking. You're smarter than I was.
It took a long time, and it was hard, because I was like, well, any money is better than no money. Like, yeah, obviously I want to make something, but I feel like I got to a point where I was like, well, if I'm not going to be making this money, why am I spending hours upon hours putting in the work? So I kind of set my standards there, like, okay, well, I'm not going to go below this price, and I'm only going to promote certain affiliate partners on my site. And that really led to the difference in my income, because I feel like 2 years ago, my entire blogging business, everything brought in probably like $10,000 for the entire year. Mm-hmm. So really like making that change and like setting my own standards led me to reach where I am now. And it also helped me increase my traffic, because last year I actually reached more than like 500,000 page views. Wow. Just from like keeping what I had going, rather than like saying, okay, well, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this. And just building who those people were really helped Frugal Fanatic. So I think, last year I did launch Simply Blogging Along. I only launched it like mid-summer, and it was kind of like I was at a point where I wanted to show people what I did and how I did it, because I was getting so many questions on my Frugal site, and I was kind of like, well, this isn't really the right place for it. Not everyone comes to this site for frugal tips and saving and stuff. Some of them want blogging. So I started a new site, and I really didn't do much with it. I did actually write a book about blogging called Breakthrough, and I really didn't do anything until this past last fall with it. So I kind of fumbled my way through that again and didn't really know what I was doing, but I learned everything from Frugal Fanatic and used it on that site, which then led me now to rebrand to addiganley.com. And now my income, even though I keep them together as like a business, my product sales actually make pretty close to what my affiliate marketing sales are now. Because my business was completely last year was almost all affiliate marketing and like sponsorships. I mean, there's still some ads on my Frugal site, but for the majority of it, a lot of it was made with just affiliate marketing.
Oh, that's awesome. That was going to be one of my questions is like, what's the breakdown in your business? And I do the same thing where, Femtrepreneur and my other websites are under like one umbrella. And so it's interesting to hear that it's like pretty much 50-50 affiliate / products. Yeah, it's getting closer because I just launched my first real product at the beginning of this year. So it's always been affiliate marketing. So right now, affiliate marketing is probably like 55%. And then I'd say the product sales and like the digital products I have on my other site are probably like maybe like 30, 35, and the other is just a couple like random things. Yeah. So that's awesome. That is awesome. You said that you had been focused on traffic. When did you know that you had to start an email list for Frugal Fantatic? Like, was that 2013 or later? Yeah, well, I had an email list. I think I actually started it in 2013. That was like my biggest regret is not starting that sooner because I literally had 100,000 people coming to my site a month. That's crazy. And they didn't sign up for anything and I didn't keep them and they never came back. And like, so that was like literally like my biggest regret. But then once I did start an email list, I didn't really focus on like building it. It was kind of just like, hey, sign up for this. And if they sign up, they did. And if they didn't, then they didn't. So it probably wasn't until like the end of 2014 that I really started like, okay, well, if these people are coming here, I want to capture their email address. I want to have that direct contact with them. So it's only been like a big focus for like a year and a half on that site. Wow, that's crazy. Do you feel comfortable telling us how many subscribers you have there? Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Just reached a little over 40,000. So that's amazing. That's awesome. Okay, so when did Frugal Fantatic start? Because like you're generating 5-figure months with these websites, with all of your products and affiliate marketing. When did you start becoming that profitable? Do you feel like it happened very slowly? Like you're adding, I think for some people, the growth trend is like slowly over time. For me, it was this kind of like jump, like, oh, I'd go from making no money to making 10,000 to making 20,000. It's kind of these like jumps. How was it growing revenue wise for you? I'd say I probably did the jumps too, because the first couple years it was like a couple thousand here and there. And then like I said, like the 10,000 year. Yeah. And then after that, I feel like I increased it by like, I don't even know, like $90,000 maybe or something. And then that's crazy. It was just like big chunks every single year. So last year was definitely like the biggest year that I've ever had. So that's amazing. Yeah. Congratulations. It's very exciting. So what would you say to someone who would be like, okay, because we hear this all the time. A lot of people will say, I can't sell a product in an industry where people are trying to save money. Or a lot of times people will say like, you can't make money talking about saving money or any of that stuff. I mean, this is clearly not true. Like, what would you say to that kind of excuse? It's definitely not true. I think when you have the right product and the right audience, it doesn't matter what niche you're in. Like, as long as you're offering something that they need or solving a problem, it can be in any niche. That's so true. Yeah, a lot of people would always say like, oh, Mariah, it doesn't make sense. You can sell a course about people who want to save money by moving into a camper. Like they want to cut down. They don't like my whole thing was like, you don't have to pay rent if you live in a camper. Yeah. Like it's pretty great. And like people were like trying to save money, but it's worth it. I think people miss the point that like it's worth it to spend $100 or a couple $100 to learn how to save that money month after month after month. Yeah, and people are willing to do it because they need that assistance or motivation or like that community to help them. And I feel like having a product or an ebook or whatever it is that they offer gives them that because you know and you've done it and you're just teaching them what you know. So they're willing to spend a little bit of money to get to that place. Yeah. So or to get the shortcut, like step by step, easier. This is how to do it. Yeah, exactly. I do that. Totally. So do I. Like, teach me exactly how to do it. I will buy. Yeah. So I'll replicate that process. I mean, I need that's like the thing is people, I don't know who these people are that are like, oh, I can just like look at something and figure it out. I'm like, if you don't really spell it out, like, I don't think that's why I became obsessed with like blog posts that were like really detailed. And that's why I wanted to like replicate that same level of detail and like screenshots and scripts and like really like showing everything in a blog post, because like before I could really like spend money on courses, I would just read those really detailed blog posts and they helped me so much because like I felt like I couldn't relate to bloggers who were just like talking about like 10 tips to make money online, and I was like, this isn't like detailed enough. Like, how am I really going to make money online?
I need to know exactly how to do it.
No, tell me what you did. So when I started seeing like detailed like blog posts, I was like, wow, like this is so helpful. And this is how my brain works. So.
Yeah. And people are willing to pay, because why waste the time?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I spent like 2.5 years like clueless on what to do or how to build my business. And I would have loved to have found someone that had a course or support or anything like that. So it's worth it.
Yeah. It's funny how long people wait. Like, all of us have that same, any person I talk to that's found success is just like, why did I wait so long? Like, why did I wait so long to like take it seriously? Like, if I had, none of us knew that this was going to be how it ended up, but like everyone I talked to was like, oh, if only I had started, taking it more seriously a year sooner, guess how far along I would be. So
yes, I totally agree.
So let's talk about some of your products so you built Frugal Fantatic to this hugely successful, tons of page views, but also you're generating a lot of revenue through affiliate links and all these other sources of income streams. You have like multiple passive income sources. You started AddiGanley.com to teach people how to do that. A lot of our audience is interested in creating online courses about their experiences. What are the products that you offer, and how was your first course launch for you? Because a lot of people want to know, like, what can I expect? What does it feel like? Like, what's the hardest part? What are some of the things about your first course launch that you can tell us?
I would say it was a little hectic. To be honest, I kind of just jumped in. I actually had no intentions of creating a course. I had no intentions of doing something like this. I was on that Teachable Summit and I saw your webinar and I kind of was like, wow, like this is it. Like, I've been looking for some other way to make money. I've been looking for a way to diversify my income and set my business apart and really like take it up a notch. So I kind of just like jumped right in and just went for it. I definitely learned a lot from my first launch. It was awesome. I feel like it was so exciting, and I love like having like that new project and starting on something new all the time. Like, I feel like I kind of worry about that because that's all I want to do is move on to the next thing. But launching it was definitely worth it. I think it brought in close to like $7,000. My goal was to sell 10 to get 10 people in the course, because it was a premium course. I would say the number one lesson that I learned from it was that it was very, very broad. At the time, I still hadn't really built Simply Blogging along, so I didn't spend a lot of time building that audience. So I kind of wanted to give them like everything I knew.
Yeah.
And that was something I definitely learned was kind of a mistake on my end, because now that I created a more specific course with Pin Affiliate Masterclass, I've actually made more money with a $97 product than I did with a $600 product, because it was just like information overload. And I feel like that's a huge lesson, because I just wanted to give everything away in that course. I wanted to be like so awesome. And it definitely, like, I wasted a lot of time doing it when I could have created something much simpler for like a specific person.
This is everyone who's listening, pay attention, write this down, because that is like the biggest lesson you can learn. It's so valuable. If you don't have to learn it the hard way, like Addi did and like I did in the past and like we all have, just please take that away, because that is so powerful to know that you're actually not doing anyone any favors by including every single piece of information that you've ever learned about this topic. Making it smaller and easier to digest is the way to go. And as you said, so tell us a little bit about these two products, because people listening are going to want to know, like, okay, so what was the first course? The first course you launched was a premium course. You said it was $600. What was it called? And then for you to say that you've actually made more money with a lower price course is really interesting. And there's no hard and fast rule. We see people on both sides of that spectrum, but kind of compare the two for us. What are they called? What are their price points? When did you launch them?
So the first course I launched was in February of this year, and it was called Blog Audience Formula. And it just focused on creating an engaged community and it kind of accelerating your blog to create it into a business. It really was all about like figuring out how to connect with your audience and find the right people and build your traffic and build your email list and use social media and everything that kind of encompasses like taking your blog to the next level. And then the second course I did was Pin Affiliate Masterclass, and it is $97. It was an evergreen one instead of the open and close launch. And I launched that one in May of this year. And I did actually make more, and I continue to make money with it since it's a low price point and it's open all the time. But I definitely learned a lot from the first launch that I applied to the second launch, and really figuring out, like, after I asked my audience, like, hey, why didn't you buy Blog Audience Formula? Or what didn't you like about this? Or what are you more interested in? It helped me narrow down like what I should be focusing on and what my audience actually needed from me.
So did you survey your audience after you launched Blog Audience Formula and you asked them those questions?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent them a survey.
So what are some of those survey questions? Because we actually get a lot of questions from people who are like, I just launched, like, what do I do now? Like, do I send a survey? What does it say? You know, how do I not weirdly ask, like, hey, why didn't you buy that thing? Not that it's bad, but just like because you want to serve your audience better. Do you remember what exactly you said?
I don't remember every question, but I know I really didn't hold back. I remember just thinking, like, hey, like, if you have a minute, like, let me know, like, what made you not want this course? And a lot of the responses I got were like, I don't have enough time. I didn't have enough money. It seemed overwhelming. So I learned a lot, but I just put it all out there and was like, hey, why didn't you buy this? Like, what made you hold back from this? Like, what are you struggling with that you decided, like, this wasn't worth your money?
Mm-hmm. Well, being open and honest like that is always, I think, the best approach for
I feel like it's just easier for them to understand, like, where I'm coming from, rather than trying to, like, sugarcoat it and, I don't know, be all nice, like, oh, why didn't you buy this? Like, no, like, I just want to know the answer. So
yeah, that's interesting.
I love that. I feel like that's something that I've never done personally, is asking those questions. And I feel like you're going to be vulnerable in doing so, but I think you'll learn so much. Like, maybe that's something that we should do or try at some point.
I really
see
think
what we learn.
I think it's like we tend to, because we overdo it. So like we do so much for our launches, like we've hit our goals. And so at the end of a launch, I never think I'm so like tired and like excited to work with the new students, but like I never have thought like, oh, I should send an email. But I see people who have really successful launches and they still send out the email of like, hey, I noticed that you might have clicked on the sales page, but you didn't buy. Why didn't you? And I think that would be really valuable. And I've heard a lot of people say the same results from that question. Like almost one of the things I've heard, and I don't know if this is true for you too, Addi, was not as many people said it was the price, and more people said it was like, I don't have time right now. Like I'm overwhelmed. Like I don't believe in myself. Like oftentimes people will report back to me that the price wasn't the biggest issue for everyone. It was a lot of other things.
Yeah, I actually thought the price was going to be the biggest issue because I was a little hesitant at first putting that price tag on it. Like I knew the course was worth it, but I was like scared to put it out there at that price.
Yeah.
But the number one thing I did get back was the time. People were like, I don't have the time. I feel like it's going to take too much work and effort and I wouldn't be able to schedule that in.
And of course, the lesson being like the small commitment courses are actually easier to sell. People don't necessarily have like, they're like, if I can take a course that's like, oh, you're going to get this thing set up in an hour, or like, you're going to be able to do this in a day or a weekend, I'm sold. If it's like, oh, 12 weeks of instruction, I'm like, man, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing.
I mean, who knows? My business changes every month. I don't know if I'll be here. So no, I'm the same way. If something is actionable and has like a quick takeaway, I feel like that's been so much more beneficial with my audience.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about something that we touched on a little bit earlier. Thank you so much for being so honest about your experience with launching your courses. I think, everyone has a lot to think about. You had success with a premium price course. You've had success with a $97 course. It seems like it's just about knowing what your particular audience wants and needs.
Yeah, it's definitely figuring out what they need from you and what I can offer them, because I was offering way too much information and they just wanted like a small part of that information. And that's what I took when I created the Evergreen course.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit how course creators like us who are I know for me, no matter how many evergreen courses we have, which we do have evergreen courses, we do have funnels that make sales on a daily basis. It's great. But in the big scheme of things, we are living in like a launch to launch economy. Like our business is about 80% of our annual revenue comes from just these big launches. That's how I pay my team. That's how I do, pay for software. Like that's where the money comes from. And so how can people like me who are kind of like a little nervous, like I get nervous, let's just be honest. Like I especially towards the end of the last payment plans ending. Like, I don't know if this is such like a specific thing to this industry, but like that anxiety that comes with like, okay, like those payment plans are coming to an end. And like, if this next launch, if anything goes wrong, like that's it. Everything is really banking on that. And I like with the evergreen stuff, you know, we've worked up to like, you know, $10,000 a month in sort of like revenue from that or whatever, but it's not, or like from affiliate stuff on the side, but it's not, that doesn't even cover my payroll. So like, for my team. So so how can we kind of add like passive income or affiliate income to our businesses so that we don't feel so stressed about like launching our products all the time?
So for me, I feel like I haven't yet had to rely on like the big launches because I've never done it that way. Like this is so new to my business, and I've always done like affiliate marketing, and I have this passive income month after month. So it's not something that I worry about right now with like the payment plans and stuff like that. But definitely like diversifying your income and having a second revenue stream. Because I feel like a lot of people come to me and they're like, well, I have a course, I make good money, I do this throughout the year, but I'm afraid like if my course doesn't do well, or if this is going to happen, or if I'll reach my goals, like what my business is going to do. And I always say to them affiliate marketing, because that's what I know and that's how I grew my business. But it does have like a really bad reputation for some reason. Over the past couple of years, I feel like a lot of people look at that as like a hands-off, like I can't do affiliate marketing, or that's not going to work for me. And it's honestly gotten like a bad reputation, but when it's done right, it's so beneficial, because even if you have a course or you're just starting your online business, you can get started with affiliate marketing without having to spend a lot of money, and without having to have a huge audience, or without having to create a product or have a ton of time to develop something new, because it kind of just like works behind the scenes, because you're literally just recommending something that you personally use or would recommend to a friend on your blog like that. So for me, it's just been like, it's almost become like second nature, because I hear the term like people are like, oh, that can't work for me, or oh, I failed. And it's just like, well, you're just doing it wrong. You just need to do it the right way and have your integrity and be honest about it. And you don't have to worry about being like a salesperson. Because I feel like that's the number one thing I hear. People are like, oh, I can't be salesy, I don't want to sell out my audience. But you're not doing that because you're recommending something that you've used in the past. Like I recommend ConvertKit because I use it and I love it and I've grown my business with it. So I'm not just like, hey, buy ConvertKit. Oh, you need this, buy now. It's just doing it the right way.
I mean, it's like if your friend was like, oh, like, what tampon do you recommend? Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, I can't tell you. Like, I don't want to be too salesy. But like, if your friend was just asking you like, oh, like, what bra do you wear? Like, you would tell them what you liked. You wouldn't just like, you wouldn't feel weird about it. And I think that's like, the thing is like, I felt like I'll be honest, I felt like that for a long time. I was like, I don't think I can be an affiliate marketer. Like, I'm not good at it. Like, I felt like to be honest, I had tried it in the past, and before I had my own products, I thought that like I was friends with like another blogger, and they were like doing only affiliate stuff. So so they were telling me like, oh, this is how you can make money. And I was like, okay, I have to do affiliate stuff on Comic Camper. And it just like didn't work. Like I felt guilty and weird, and it just didn't work. So I kept telling myself this story like, oh, affiliate stuff like can't work for me. Like I'm not good at it. I'm not salesy enough to do it. Like I'm not like these people that have this big audience or whatever. I can't do it. And then in the last couple of months, I feel like it's become a more natural part of my business. It's become like something that I am like, well, naturally people are asking us what tools we're using or what we like to do, you know, just it naturally will come up. That's why it's such a good idea for course creators, because like people are going to ask you whether you like it or not.
Oh yeah. And I feel like the whole having a friend telling you, like if a friend told me like, hey, go to this restaurant, it was awesome, you'll love it, I'm more likely going to go because I trust them and I trust their opinion and I'm loyal to them. And that's where I feel like the people are missing using affiliate marketing on their blog, because they feel like they're selling, but really you're just helping them. Like they're coming to you, they're looking for a tool or they're looking for an easier way, and you're providing that to them as an affiliate partner. So there's really not like there's not like a disconnect where you're like, oh, I have to sell this to them or I have to get them to buy this. Yeah, like it's not really, I don't like to think of it in terms of like, okay, well, how much money am I going to make as an affiliate? Like I think of, okay, well, I'm going to help my audience by doing this and I'll make money with it too. Like always put like your audience first and what they need before trying to say like, you're just going to make money off of it.
Oh, that's such a golden nugget for everything too. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. I try to kind of convey that with creating courses too, is like people are like, ooh, well, I feel weird about making money or like charging people for my content. Like I've never done that before. And it's like, well, you're really doing everyone a disservice by like holding back. You're actually helping people by having them make an investment and a commitment, which is how they actually achieve goals. Like people don't do things unless they put down a little bit of money. So if you have a course, you're actually helping people reach their goals. You're not just like trying to make, money for the sake of it. So
yeah,
I think that's a really good point. So tell us a little bit about the Pin Affiliate concept. So you've told us what Pin Affiliate Masterclass is, your course. How does this concept work? How are you, because I know it's not just like, you're not just slapping affiliate links onto Pinterest. So how are you generating all this revenue from this sort of pin affiliate concept that you've come up with, which I just think is brilliant. And ever since I've been experimenting with it, like I said, we went from making no money with affiliates to now we're making about like $10,000 a month with just like passive affiliate recurring revenue, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. So for me, since I told you like Pinterest was such a game changer for my business, I realized like, okay, I need to leverage this traffic. Like I need to do something that is going to monetize my site because I have all these people coming. So for me, affiliate marketing was like the number one choice. And since I had so much success with Pinterest, I thought, well, this is like the perfect combination to show my audience, like this is where my traffic's coming from. This is how I'm making money. So I specifically would create different type of like tutorial posts or reviews or before and after type of guides that would be for my Pinterest audience specifically, and then create that pinnable image. And it just got so many people to my blog. And then in that blog is where I would recommend like the product or the service or whatever I was like an affiliate for. And that's how I would monetize it. The number one way that I always tell people if they want to get started with affiliate marketing and leveraging the traffic they're already getting from Pinterest is to monetize their existing content, because that's something like people are always like, well, if I need to get started, then I have to write all this new stuff and I need to create new blog posts and I need to do new videos. And instead of wasting your time doing that, like go back and find out like the posts that are getting the most traffic from Pinterest and monetize those first. So that was what I did that started like bringing in that money, because I'm like, well, I'm already getting all these people. I need to figure out a way to give them what they're looking for when they come to my site. So I would add in a relevant affiliate offer of something that I actually use. So that's kind of where the whole Pin Affiliate Masterclass concept came from, because there's so many people on Pinterest, and Pinterest is like a visual search engine. Yeah. So when someone's typing something into Pinterest, like they're looking for, I don't know, like a broccoli recipe or something, and your pin pops up, like that could be like your target audience because they're specifically searching for it, and your picture comes up and they go to your blog. So you don't need to have a huge following to get that specific audience with Pinterest. And that's why I always tell people like, you need to utilize that and leverage all those people that are coming now, because you're missing out because they are your target audience because they're already searching those terms on Pinterest and coming to your blog.
I feel like setting up some sort of I would call this a funnel. It's not like the same as like an email funnel, but it's still a funnel of people see a graphic and like a Pinterest image on Pinterest that they like. They click through the blog post, they read the blog post. If they like what it's about and they need the offer that you have, the affiliate program that you're a part of, then they click through and buy. And so to me, this kind of feels like a solution to one of the issues we see a lot of course creators get into, which is that in order to add more income, they just think they need to launch new courses. Mm-hmm. And like we're both like have had that where we're like, oh, like I just want to get to the next thing. What's the next course? What's the next project?
Yeah.
But then you end up, and we've talked about this in so many episodes, where you end up with too many courses and you don't know how to promote them. Or like you said, like maybe they're not really what your audience needs anymore, or they were okay, but there's another course that's doing way better. And so you end up with just too many offers. To me, this is like a solution of like, well, if you want to diversify your income, maybe just creating new courses every month isn't the answer. Maybe you need to get some different things that they don't compete with your other courses too. Like that's the thing is like, if you start creating so many courses, it just creates confusion for your audience. This is like, well, here's a course about how to do something. Here's a tool that you can use to achieve it. You know, like here's, they're complementary and not competing.
Yeah, and you're able to monetize what you've already created. So you're not going in and developing new posts and a new course and a new product. Like you can monetize what you have. And it actually helps you because you can see what these people are coming to your site for. So if you're trying to like figure out who this audience is or the majority of your audience, like you can figure that out by seeing what pins and what posts they like the most and the ones that are being repinned the most. And I feel like it can lead to so much more by leveraging that traffic coming from Pinterest.
That's awesome. Okay, so, and I know you have a free course for people, right? That they can learn more about this, because like this is so valuable, guys. It's worth your time to put this in place. Like it's worth your time to. I know for us, it's like it's hard to be like, oh, put time into something that you don't know how it's going to work out. But this has been really worth it for us to implement. And I only have done 3 of like the pin affiliate style posts. Like I went in, like you said, I upgraded and updated 3 different posts, created better Pinterest graphics for them because they didn't really have good ones before.
Yeah.
And it's really working. It's really satisfying to be like, oh, like I made 5 affiliate sales today. And like, it was just from this traffic that's coming in.
Well, and I feel like that's a lot of what I hear people say because they have an archive like you have an archive of blog posts, whether you've been doing it a year or 2 years, like you can just go in and monetize those and like update it and maybe fix the pin. Because I know like when I started pinning, like I had no idea the images I was making. I did so many like horizontal and I didn't have text overlay. So you can just go into those posts and edit those to make them like be more of like a pin-worthy image and then update the content to make sure it's like what you're actually talking about now. So instead of going in and creating something new, like monetize what you have and just update it to fit Pinterest and what Pinterest is now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a nice complementary income stream for sure.
Yeah, and it just like works in the background. Like I always say, it's like behind the scenes because like once you have a post and you have this pin created for it and you're driving traffic, you just have to keep like repinning it a couple times a month or putting it on your personal boards, your group boards, and it just keeps driving traffic to your blog. So I don't have to do all kinds of work month after month to get that revenue as an affiliate partner because it just keeps happening and happening as I get more people from Pinterest.
This is awesome. Just I still have more questions for you, but just tell everyone where they can go and get this awesome free course that you've offered them because I think this is going to be super valuable.
Yeah, so it's called Passive Income Without a Product, and it's free for your audience. So you can go to addiganley.com/thefemshow, and they'll be able to get in for free.
That's awesome. You guys, this is really, really generous of Addi. Like this normally costs money and she's giving it to you guys for free so you can get started with passive income without a product, which is awesome. So thank you, Addi.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so we're going to kind of wrap this up, but we have a couple of questions that we like to ask our guests. So everything looks rosy always from the outside. What are some of the things that you personally are struggling with? And we're in a mastermind together, so we talk all the time about our behind the scenes true life struggles. But what are some of the things that even you with so much success still struggle with today?
I feel like my biggest struggle is always like really, really figuring out that ideal person that I want to target to and like saying no to everyone else. Like I feel like my business, I know we've talked about this before, has always been catering to everybody else. And it wasn't actually something that I wanted to be offering or I want to still be offering. So when I started my Simply Blogging Along, it was for new bloggers and new people. And I feel like I wanted to help those people, but as I transition in my business, I struggle with trying to find the right person. And I feel like I'm shifting that focus to someone who has like an established business and is kind of looking for like a second revenue stream, not like the beginner level blogging stuff. So that's definitely a struggle that I go through because as my business changes, I'm constantly changing like who I am targeting.
Yeah. And I think like you said, it's kind of hard when you have an existing audience and you're trying to make that change or evolve your business a little bit, it's kind of that, I know we've talked about it before, the guilt almost of like, but I have these people already.
And I feel bad, but
yeah, I think that's a struggle. The reason I wanted to highlight that is because I think a lot of people experience that. Like even in my personal business, I'm behind the scenes kind of pivoting, and it is kind of like, oh, well, I have this list of, X number of people who think I only talk about this, and now I'm going to be evolving. Like, how will that go? And I think that's a natural transition for all business owners to evolve. So I think it's nice, like Mariah said, to kind of hear that, like, even with the success you've had, like that is still something that everyone kind of goes through, and kind of just have to be like, sorry, this is what I talk about. Because I think, like you said, you don't want to be talking about those things anymore. And I think that's like the worst, not the worst case scenario for a business, but like as the business owner, like you don't want to be stuck creating content. You shouldn't be stuck creating content you don't want to. Like it is your business. You're not just an employee. So
and it's hard because it's hard to shift that.
But that's hard.
That's really interesting. And I think like Megan, like you have pivoted your business in the past that it was like all for side hustlers, and then you switched over to more like technology and systems and platforms and organization productivity stuff. And it's like, did you wondered then, like, is this going to be the worst thing? And then like when you did, it even exploded more. So like
it was the best thing. Yeah.
Like, I think you have that feeling, you feel bad about it. You feel like you aren't unsure, but that it's time to maybe like evolve or change your business.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it helps your mindset. Cause like, I feel like I'm like in it more then. Cause I'm like, wow, I love this. This is what I want to talk about. Like, and I feel like my content and what I have to offer is so much better than when I'm trying to like work around other topics that I'm not as interested in anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
So true. Well, I think a lot of people struggle with that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
So what do you think is going to be one of sort of the next big trends in either online business or online courses, marketing? How do you think things are going to like change in the coming years? Like, what do you think is on the horizon?
I would think that businesses are going to focus more on like being more intentional and having more strategic paths for their audience, because I feel like even myself in the past like couple years, like I feel like I always just wanted to offer all this stuff and give them everything they needed. And I feel like I've realized now, even just within the past few months, being more specific and intentional what I'm offering has been better, and giving them like a beginning, a middle, an advance, like where they should go. Otherwise they just get overwhelmed. And I feel like a lot of times, like other businesses that I've seen online, like they're just course after course after ebook and product. And I feel like sometimes it's like way too much. So I feel like narrowing that down and being really specific is going to be a trend to give your audience like a strategic path.
That's awesome.
I love that. I agree.
Yeah. And we've had other guests say that same thing. Like
oh, really?
Yeah. In other episodes, people have been like, I feel like there just needs to be like a clear path. And it's hard because like there's so much more out there now, and that's only going to increase. And it's not that there's like a lack of opportunity. If I don't want you to be like, oh, there's too many courses, I guess I should give up. There isn't, and there's so much room, but there's so much out there that people are just looking for. Again, the reason people are buying a course, they want a step-by-step plan. If you offer 3 courses, they have to be in a step-by-step plan too.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times someone will come to you and they're like, okay, well, where do I start? Like, which one is good for me? And how do I progress using this? And I feel like having like that strategic path will help to be more successful in your business.
Yeah. Oh, we struggle with that too. Same thing. We're always trying to look for like a best solution to make sure people are starting where they should be starting, and going from there. So what are some of the new projects that you're going to be working on this year? Is there anything that you're excited about that's coming out that we should be on the lookout for?
I will be relaunching Pin Affiliate Masterclass before the end of the year with a lot more in-depth, like advanced options for people who are making a little bit of money with affiliate marketing but need like that extra information in the next step, and also like a VIP option. So that's going to happen towards the end of the year.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah.
I can't wait. I mean, I just like, and especially now, because I really started with the really simple pin affiliate concepts. Like I just the sort of simplest funnel that you lay out, and you have a couple of different options that people can do. I'm excited to take it to the next level. It's so worth it. So guys,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Like, I mean, people talk about passive income, and I think courses are a form of like leveraged income, or like but it's not passive. Like there's just like, unless you're really hands off and you don't ever interact with your students and like you don't care about anyone, then it would be passive. But I think there's something to be said for like, this is really truly passive. When you can actually hand the customer service off to someone else, that's when I feel like it's passive. Because for us, it's like nothing is passive, because we do have like customer service is a real thing, and you have to support your students. You can't just, let them just go off on their own
by themselves.
Yeah. So I feel like when you can promote someone else's product, that is such a huge opportunity to be like, I don't have to worry about like customer service on the other side of that.
Yeah, it's done.
That's awesome. All right. So where can our listeners find you and follow you on social media? And tell us one more time where they can get that awesome course for free. Thank you so much for offering that.
Oh, you're welcome. They can find me at addiganley.com, and then on social media, just at Addi Ganley. And if you want to sign up for passive income without a product, you can go to addiganley.com/thefemshow.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was so valuable.
Thank you guys.
Go to thefemshow.com/13 for the show notes to this episode and to find the links to all of the resources we mentioned, including the link to get Addi's course, Passive Income Without a Product, for free.
And if you like this episode, please subscribe to the Femtrepreneur Show on iTunes and leave a rating and a review. It might seem small, but reviews make a really big difference to us. They help us get more amazing guests for you and keep bringing you this free content each and every week. So don't forget to go to thefemshow.com to submit your questions for us if you want Mariah and Megan to answer a question from you on the podcast.
And if you want to discuss this episode with us and a whole community of amazing, ambitious entrepreneurs, make sure to join our free Facebook group at thefemshow.com/community.